points on the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming in November 16, 2021, and Alibaba stock is gonna go crazy this week. We made a lot of plays today, but I found a really good pre-earnings run-up play strategy that I want to show you guys. We're gonna go over that, but all of this stuff we have this week, it's gonna tie into Baba. We're getting the China economic data this week. We're gonna hear from all of these China companies, and then today after hours, we are going to be getting that Biden and Xi Jinping meeting. So we still got earnings. Today was a very interesting day. Every market ended up red. I think we got a little bit of a boost after hours there. That's why it was showing green. But for the most part, today was pretty negative. Every index was red. It was looking good. And then all of a sudden, we had a random sell-off. So one big part about today, it was pretty much just the U.S. Everywhere else did good. You did get some of that China data today, and that wasn't too hot, but they still did very good. So this is bringing up a lot of concerns about inflation, and even Powell was brought up today too. So we still got a lot to look at, but I got the plays for you. I got the keys. We're going to go over everything that happened and that's going to happen this week, and then the plays for the rest of the week. So let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed, and if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes for open. It's the first link in the description, and it's been in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free 99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/the-stack-market. You can post the play, see the plays, watch us come to life, and yes. If Hummer H2s and cash out refinances without income verification just reminds you of the good old days, then yeah, we're the place to be. And the most important thing you need to do, post your watch below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything. Post them below and source that info. Shout out the chat, baby. So, right off the bat, like I said, today was a very interesting day. What we saw, in my opinion, was a delayed bond reaction. The bond yields kept climbing up, but it didn't really shock the market till later. Again, right when we had European close, that's where the sell-off happened, and that's a big part to notice, is that the United States was the only laggard today. Everywhere else, Japan, Asia, Europe, and even Australia, they all did good, and even in the futures, they're looking good now, but for the most part, this does seem to be isolated to today. It wasn't a big sell-off, and even where the markets are at now, we've gone 22 days in a row without a 1% move. So even though we've been trading a lot, and even though it seems like there's been all of these big moves, the indexes have been very not volatile at all. So today was a weird start to the week. It wasn't too active. We got that weird movement. Again, we're still kind of jumpy from the bonds and what we got last week, the tapering and all of that, and we need to talk about it. But now earnings are still in play this week, but now don't forget the middle of the month, and a couple of analysts are talking about this. We're even going to go over all of the 13Fs and see what the hedge funds bought and all of that. But as far as positioning, don't forget, over this last year, 8 out of the last 12 monthly expirations have had a lot of volatility. So we didn't see it last month because we came off a lot of volatility prior, but some people are eyeing this date here, this Friday. They want to see, well, does the market start to get volatile and kind of repeat what we've seen most of the year? So that is a big focus moving forward. But now coming into tomorrow, the real big data is actually going to have a lot of focus. It's going to be retail sales. We're going to get the retail sales report as well as earnings from HD and Walmart, and depending on how that goes, 2 positive headlines in that front that could be enough to distract us into Friday. And depending on where we close on Friday, given that option expiry, it's going to really say a lot about where we're at, or if the market is going to be responding negatively to inflation or anything of that nature. So kind of random, but coming into your first pretty picture here, this is Tesla shares, and after today, they are entering a bear market. So this is literally a 20% drop from the highs, and it's fascinating because remember, you just saw it run up, so you literally have people talking about a bear market here. What I would say to keep an eye on is, like I'm saying with the indexes, you're not watching a big move, but there's still been a lot of individual names, and here with earnings that could still be enough to stabilize things. So keep an eye out for that. And we made a Tesla play today too. We'll go over that. But as far as the rest of the week and even just setting up to really how the market's going to play out, watch for any inflation or bond market fears that we've been talking about. Again, look towards the option expiration, because if those don't set off the market before then we will probably be good, or afterwards we'll see. But then another big piece of news to watch this week. They said maybe by the end of the week or even next week at the latest, we should hear from the White House as far as whether or not they're going to renominate Powell. So that was a big deal. It came up today, and his odds are actually at 50% right now. So it's not the 60-40 or 70-30, but some people are saying really Lael Brainerd, it could be up there. And now some people are even talking about how will the market react. So that's also going to be a thing to watch here this week to see if we get volatility. Otherwise, if there's good earnings tomorrow, good data out of China, a positive response from the Xi Jinping Biden meeting, and then all the other earnings are good, that might be enough to get us through this week, and then things will be fairly chill. So we'll see what happens. But coming into the company news and events, what I want to go over here is all of the 13Fs, or I want to give you a highlight from a lot of the different companies. Again, we talked about it. The hedge funds will be reporting today. We got a lot here after the bell, a lot of different additions. This will factor into things tomorrow. We did get some headlines today and some stocks move. We'll see how they play out tomorrow. Again, some of the more bigger purchases will move things, and there could be a delayed reaction, but a lot of these will be good to watch tomorrow. But as far as Berkshire Hathaway, they've added to their holdings in Chevron. They decreased Abivi by 30%. They completely exited Merck, Liberty Global, and Organon, and then they bought a new position in Royalty Pharma and Florin Deco. This is Berkshire Hathaway, and then they also trimmed the positions that they have on Visa and MasterCard, as well as Charter Communications and Bristol Myers. Then George Soros, from his 13F, he increased his stake in IHS Markets by 80%, and then he took a new position in General Motors through call options, and he did the same thing with XLE. So he pretty much has bought a ton of calls on GM and XLE. So I thought that one was interesting, but those were new positions for him. Then Starboard Value, they took a new position in Huntsman, and then they also increased their current position on the Russell 2000 by 159%. Then Carl Icahn, he bought into SWX. That's a new position, cut his stake in Oxy, and then he boosted his stake in Dan and IEP. And then Jana Partners, they got a new stake in Macy's. And I think from here, there's a couple of other moves. We could go over these tomorrow, but this isn't accounting for the whole list. I'm kind of just highlighting some of the big ones. But Jana Partners, they took a new stake in Macy's. And then Tiger Global, they added new positions in Robinhood and Matterport. And then they boosted their positions in Snow, DoorDash, Datadog. And then they fully cut out of Roblox, JD, Spotify, and Uber. So remind me tomorrow on stream. We should get a couple more of these, but there's a lot of them. We'll go over them, and again, depending on how the data and everything plays out, we'll see how a lot of these names react. There's just been a lot of movement, and so far, if you want to look at the overall trend, what a lot of people have noticed, or the data is showing, a lot of institutional investors this quarter, it looks like they sold out of individual stocks and opted to buy more ETFs instead. So interesting little value shift you got there. But coming into other news here, Biden and Xi Jinping tonight at 7 p.m. We're going to see that. So pretty much by tomorrow morning, you should see the follow through. So we'll see what happens. And there's going to be a couple of other China data points. We already got some of their numbers today. They were disappointing, but when we get into the play, you'll see what I'm talking about. Most of the guidance is already so low, so they have that in their favor, but watch out for them. Then today, Mara, this was a big drop, and a lot of people asked about it on stream, but they tumbled almost 30% after disclosing in a filing that they received a subpoena from the SEC. It's looking into one of their business deals that they did in October 2020 with another company, but then also they are also planning to sell a convertible debt of around, I think, $500 million. So back-to-back kind of negative news. It hit them a little bit, so that one was interesting. And then this was a very interesting headline. It had an infograph too, but corporate snitching has surged to an all-time high as telework embodies or emboldens the tipsters and snitches. So you can see here pretty much from 2020 and now even 2021, you got people snitching at a faster rate rate than ever. Snitching is at a decade high. It is almost 3 times higher than when Fetty Wap was like out and like popping. Like that was like kind of recent old. You know what I'm saying? That is crazy. But there's a little work from home trend. That actually was a top read article. I thought it was interesting. And then we went over this today, but there's a heavy rain and a lot of backups there in Canada, but which shut down one of their biggest railroad tracks at Canada's largest port. And then Long Beach, they delayed the implementation of fees for delayed tankers, but that is one measure they're going to start doing, is charging fees to anybody who's spending too long taking up space at the ports or anything like that. But they said they're slowing down on that plan just of yet. And then finally, we got the infrastructure bill signed today. That's what Biden did finally. But Pelosi said that she hopes for a social spending package by the end of the week. So that could have a big effect. We saw what happened there with the infrastructure stocks and a lot of those names. So we will keep our eye out for that in the timeline and see what happens. But very straightforward week. There's going to be a lot of data. Things can go either way. Everybody's a little bit jumpy, but depending on that data, it could kickstart some things. So I hope you're ready. But that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So, right off the bat, I got 3 different stocks that I'm looking at coming into tomorrow. I have plays on 2 of them, and one of them I flipped out of today, but I'm probably going to double dip on it this week. We'll go over it, but the first one is going to be Alibaba, and I really like this for a pre-earnings run-up. So first, am I buying this for the long term? No. 2, am I gonna hold for earnings? Probably not, no. I'll show you what I did today. Also, we did make a play on Walmart, and I am gonna look at them tomorrow, but there is a specific difference between playing before earnings and then after earnings. So there's different premium opportunities, and this is why I'm liking the Baba. They're going to report this week, and I think it'll be a more easier earnings run-up, just given the fact that the contracts have not moved in a long time. That's the first part, and then as long as today or the Xi Jinping meeting, if that ends up being good, that could give it a little boost there, and I'm thinking that it might kind of start the pre-earnings run-up here, and this is what I'm trying to highlight. You'll see it on the option chain, but since those big dips, and this is why this play might be surprising, like, I thought you don't like the Alibaba stock. I really don't, and I wasn't trying to buy the dip. I'm here simply to play earnings. You've watched this strategy. This is a train, but ever since all of that, they've kind of based out. They had that run-up. They shot up a little bit during that hype. They've been selling off, and now it's leveled out. But if you come to the option chain, you could pretty much go to any expiration, December or January. I ended up going with the Januaries. I actually think I got these ones right here, the 200s. But the point I want you to see right here is that the premiums have not moved at all. So during that little pop, they kind of had the pop, but their earnings is this week on Thursday. You've seen how the premiums hold up. I'm expecting there to be a certain floor. So what I'm looking for at this is the pre-earnings run-up. Why I like it, it has not moved, and the premiums have been very stable. So day of, if we get an earnings pop, that will be nice, but doesn't mean it has to happen. You saw me take a play on that with Walmart today, and we got clapped. But as far as the play, I went kind of big. I got 10 of those January 200 calls. I bought them for $2.98 a pop. I was willing to go a little bit bigger because, again, I don't think they'll lose too much more. If anything, it'll probably drop 30% day of earnings, maybe 15% at max, but that's just my estimate. We'll see what happens. But the idea here is if I could get a 50%, 100%, maybe even less since it's a big position, that will be nice, but play it and try to get a premium flip before the earnings. But that was the first play. Hopefully we will see if all of the Alibaba dip buyers show up. We'll see what happens, but that's the first one. The second one is going to be Walmart, and I think it's just going to be a fire post earnings. So on average, it moves about 1% to 2% the day after earnings, but I'm just feeling a bigger post earnings out of them. I think it's going to be a pivotal quarter. We've seen a lot of companies kind of even sell off and end up doing good. I think Walmart has a lot of good things going for them. The guidance really isn't the best, but they might get hurt by some of the inflation and margin stuff, but we're going to see how that one plays out. But I did end up holding one of the plays, but whatever they do tomorrow, if they do good, I'm going to be willing to go for calls. And then if it does sell off bad, I won't get the calls. Otherwise, I may want to buy the dip on here. I think this one may be able to bounce back if they do bad, but the earnings will tell us all tomorrow, so we'll see what happens. But then you can see the strategy today. I actually only meant to get 5, but it ended up having me do 10. But the idea is Walmart reports tomorrow morning, so the only time to play the pre-earnings run-up would have been today. So I started off in the morning, and if you even looked at Walmart's chart, I mean, they have been absolutely demolished over the last couple days. So my idea was, well, leading into today, they're already been down 5 days in a row. You have their earnings. I was expecting the contracts to hold up, so I went pretty big here. I only wanted 5. I ended up doing 10. I got the 155 calls for $1.33. Held them pretty much till close. They were up like 10, 15% in the morning, but then after the European close and everything started to sell off, they got clapped with everything else. So I ended up getting clapped, but I sold out before. This is the pre-earnings run-up. You play the premium right into the earnings. If it's not there, unless you want to play the earnings, you sell out, and that's what I did. I took a loss here, probably about like $100 here. You could see like 14 cents a contract, but I sold out of 8 of the 10, and I decided to hold 2 because I thought the earnings would be good. So we'll see how that one plays out. But I'm going to be looking for the post-earnings play, and you see how we played it today. I still have that position, but that is going to be the second play. And then finally, Nvidia. So earnings are going to be this week on Wednesday, but if we see how the premiums play out in the next few days, this might be a very good trade to flip. So I've already went in on it, and the best part is, since I played it, and a lot of people in the chat have been playing it, we kind of have place markers on premium. So what I'm looking for tomorrow, if it does completely rally and go crazy and the premiums do just keep surging, it'll make it a little bit harder and we might miss that opportunity. But if it kind of chills out and we could get an idea of where the premiums are going to hold, this could be a really, really good one to flip. So you can see what I did here today, and I'll show you the exact play. But what I ended up doing during the big dip here today, I started looking at Nvidia. I was thinking pre-earnings run up there, and I remember they have some, but the premiums were expensive. So I remember that one play that Chad brought up on Friday, Michael and the gang, they had a big Nvidia play they were looking at, and then I looked at the premiums. I said, wow, they even fell 30% from there. So you actually got to see the premiums not hold up. So I said, okay, I'll go in with a decent sized play. I bought 3 of these for $15.44, and then a couple hours later, as it ended up running up, I was able to sell out at $17.80. We made like $700 off of it. I was gonna hold it, but I said, okay, that was like 15-20%, not a bad gain. And then my idea was I could pretty much watch the premium coming into tomorrow, and we'll see if this floor does hold up. We could double dip. And now, why did I decide to go with that play? This is what I mean by place markers. It's because we already knew what was going on with the 305. So right here, these things closed at 16, but this was the play that Chad brought up. There was all those call sweeps. Remember, it was in at like $1,800, and this was for the 305. So during the day when things were down, I was looking at this. You could see where we got in at like $15.50 during the day. We pretty much bottom ticked it, but I looked at the contracts and I said, well, I could get $5 closer to the money at 30% lower than the 305. It was kind of showing me that the premiums decayed a little bit, and you even pull it out, there was still a lot of premium, and this is what makes me hesitant about it, is that I didn't want to play it, but I said, well, from here, even if it did go another 30-40%, I could lose a little bit more, but I think the earnings would have kept it up. So it was able to bounce back up. But this is what I'm saying tomorrow. We know the price of this 300 now, and we know the price of the 305. Essentially, I'm not going to play this again until it goes below 1,500. If it magically does, or we see how that plays tomorrow, that might be a magic number on the premiums that we might be able to play around. So this one's going to be a little bit more risky. It'll require a lot of monitoring, but Nvidia is still in play for the pre-earnings, so keep your eye out for that. As far as everything else, I did have a couple of other plays today. Some of them were big blessings. The first one in the morning, I sold this one out right away. I could have even made another 100%, but Dollar Tree, if you guys remember, we got clapped on this play a couple weeks ago. Remember, I bought into the news. It was regarding an activist stake, ironically, the same news that brought it up, but this stock got absolutely clapped. I grabbed these and I was down like 50-60%. Well, this morning, they shot up and I was able to close out at 120%. So got a nice $800 gain. I think like 400 of it was pure profit, but it made back some of our money there plus profit. So I got out of that. And then the Visa on Friday, remember we were down on that play 20%. That shot up and I was able to close out at around 20 or 30%. So that one, shorter term play, we're already down on the option. I got to take those profits quick and then just flipped out of the Nvidias and made the Walmart play. And then I also grabbed a $900 put on Tesla for this week, a $500 weekly. I think it's down like 30 or 40%. Literally a couple minutes after I bought it, the stock just had that crazy surge, but I will be watching Tesla. I think that's going to be a good one this week. And this one, I'm just willing to take the risk there. I think there's going to be a lot of volatility just given everything, and the UN gave Elon a budget there for the food thing. I'll see what he says about selling. But those were the only other plays as far as everything else. I'm going to be watching tomorrow. Watch Macy's and the retail stocks. I was going to make a play on them today, but they were a little bit up there, but they could still have a pre-earnings run up. And again, that will be key. And then Overstock, they had the drop in pop here. The premiums are cheaper, but still a little expensive. But this is a very, very big hype play. If that thing goes crazy, this is definitely one I'm going to be watching here. Then Lucid, they had good earnings. They were all over the place. I may want to play this as a post-earnings continuation. Hopefully the premiums drop, but that is definitely going to be one to watch tomorrow, especially if you get the upgrades and downgrades. And then Tesla, again, we bought it right here, then that random surge out of nowhere, but watch how they play out. Again, bear market, oh no. But watch them, and then Walmart and Baba, then Boeing. They had a lot of back-to-back good news, and they held up. A lot of people are saying this could be the breakout, but big volume. Again, just a lot of good consecutive news. I think they're going to be a real leader tomorrow. Then RPRX, Royalty Pharma, they're up after hours. This is the company that Warren Buffett bought into. I would definitely keep an eye out for them. They've just been doing very, very well here, and you could even pull them out. So they're a newer company at a lower level. I really like how it's looking, so we'll see if they have a bigger Warren Buffett effect tomorrow than CLX. Again, this was one of those graveyard plays. Remember, this one got clapped 50% too, just like the Dollar Tree. This one is back down to negative 6% now, so we've got most of our gains back. I could walk away with a $50 loss. We were down a lot more, but remember, this was a good earnings play. Even though they had good earnings, they didn't go up. We played this on the day of, not the day after, but they're starting to break out there. If they do start to go up, I think that could be a very good sign, but we're going to be watching those plays. Then EVgo and Blink, bringing up EVgo because they dropped and they got a lot of the hype alongside of Blink in charge with the infrastructure bill, but Blink, they went crazy today. The CEO was on CNBC and Fox. He was pretty much everywhere. They went nuts, but there was a lot of hype there, so keep your eye out for that. But again, I want to see if EVgo or any of the other ones bounce. Coinbase, the plays that we had went up 30%. They only closed 10, but I'm still holding it. I didn't take the profits. I like where it's at here, so going to be riding it out. I like the fact that it touched some higher levels. It's kind of moving like Coinbase does, but the fact that it's still holding that strength, I'm really, really liking it. And then Roblo, they came up today, and they even touched like 110, but be careful here. I'm playing both sides, and pretty much this move is just taking down the premium. So until it breaks out, if you're holding shares, I'm still gaining on it, and that's what's helping out. But the premium both ways is getting hard. There's a lot of trade opportunities, but the swings are getting very difficult. We're still holding all those premiums, but definitely going to be watching them. And then Boeing and even Airbnb too, they did good today. And then finally, TLT and the dollar, pretty much, I don't think we're going to freak out, and the market won't. Just after today, I thought we would have freaked out more, and this is what I mean by delayed bond reaction with the market. We didn't really move until right here when we really started to hit a low, and now we did hit another key low, and you notice we chilled out around there. We did end up selling off today, but this is the low from the Fed tapering, so it's all about key ranges, and it's weird. Again, I think it's weird and surprising that the tech stocks aren't really reacting to this big move here, but it's not that big. And the fact of the matter is just simply these are ranges and yields that the whole market has already seen before. So I don't think we're going to freak out until we go down below here. Watch the dollar. It still is going up, but it's not like the pace from a couple days ago. If that keeps hitting a new high, that will be the warning sign. But I really think tech start to freak out if we break through the 140 and then start hitting kind of one of those higher levels, higher inflation areas that we saw at the beginning of the year where people were a little bit more worried. But anything could happen. We got a lot of data, a lot of global stuff, and if the earnings surprise, the market could get surprised too. So I hope you're ready. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure Andre Healthy ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shine. I need you to remember 2 words, baby. God's playing, but the code loves you. I love you. And we'll see you in the morning. Let's go.